in his place. At first, the plan went badly wrong. Mossadegh refused to accept the decree. Instead, his supporters took to the streets and rioted, demanding that the Shah step down himself. With events beyond his control, the Shah fled to Rome. Then Roosevelt and his agents pulled off an extraordinary feat. In 3 days, they manipulated the anti-Shah demonstrations into anti-Mossadegh riots.
Well, it was not difficult at all because the hard core of the Iranian element was there and ready to move. And what they needed was advice, some assistance, some physical support, occasional small amounts of money.
Roosevelt and his agents wanted to persuade the Iranian army to begin arresting the Mossadegh supporters on the streets. He did this by lending them U.S. military equipment. Later, Major General George Stewart secretly testified before Congress on how the coup was engineered.
When this crisis came on and the thing was about to collapse, we violated our normal criteria. And among other things we did, we provided the Army immediately on an emergency basis. The guns that they had in their hands, the trucks that they rode in, the armored cars that they drove through the streets were all furnished through the Military Defense Assistance Program.
With the army arresting Mossadegh's demonstrators, Roosevelt and his CIA agents went round the bazaars of Tehran giving out dollars to get people out on the streets shouting pro-Shah slogans. In just 3 days, the CIA swung the crowds away from Mossadegh to the Shah. Mossadegh himself was arrested by the army and the Shah returned in triumph from Rome. This coup had been the CIA's safest kind of operation, political intervention. Roosevelt and a handful of CIA men changed the government by organizing revolution on the streets. 300 people died during the rioting, but the involvement of the CIA was kept secret. Tom Brayton was a director in the CIA's clandestine section.
What was the psychological effect on the agency of that operation?
Well, it was not the first foreign success in the dirty tricks department, but it was certainly the first big one. And since it was a complicated, dangerous, difficult operation and was performed so successfully with such little use of manpower and very little use of money, that it probably gave the agency its first pair of long trousers.
The coup was as far-sighted as it was bold. Today, 20 years later, the Shah is America's strongest ally in the Middle East. With his oil revenues, he's turned Iran into an armed fortress against communism. The CIA's part in the operation began to leak in the 1960s, but one aspect of the story has never been told before. According to a highly placed CIA official talking to World in Action, it was the British Foreign Office and MI6 which asked the CIA to topple Mossadegh. In accordance with their normal practice, they've refused to comment on this report. But in any case, the coup didn't do Britain much good. The British government lost its monopoly on Iranian oil, and the US picked up 40% of the Shah's oil contracts.